Hey, 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 I am Valerie Luttrell, and welcome to the Single, Saved, and Dating Show. So outside of making that self-assessment, that's our first step. Is when you're contemplating, starting over with your finances or improving where you are today. What is the next step beyond making that true assessment of who you are and recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses and your opportunities and threats? I'm going into my business. I'm putting my business hat on. That's a SWOT analysis. So you're conducting a SWOT analysis on yourself, right? So after we've done that, what is the next step for us as a single?
I think the next thing that you should do is start looking to build your financial house.
Okay.
Be it whether you're single or together.
Okay.
Because you're going to come together. So in your financial house, your first thing is your protection.
Okay.
So we have goals, dreams, we do all these different things. But the reality is that sometimes we don't live long enough to fulfill those goals.
Absolutely.
So we call it income protection.
Okay.
Life insurance. We also have to change the way we think about life insurance. Life insurance is not for the funeral.
Oh my goodness, Dwayne, we would have a whole nother show because I can't tell you how many. I don't even know what they call these accounts, like when people pass away, unfortunately, and then GoFundMe accounts and all this other stuff. Well, why didn't we get prepared for this before now? This is all the preparation, and it's sad to see sometimes. And yeah, of course, I've given into that, but why can't we do the reverse and prepare for that so that we don't become a burden on our spouses that we left behind or our family members that we left behind, right?
Absolutely.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah. Yes, because it is deep, but that is your first step. And look at the day and time that we're in. So with COVID-19 and all that.
Yes.
And I want people to understand this too. Life insurance, what happens if you become uninsurable? That's now when people start thinking, we start thinking about life insurance.
Yes.
So I can leave a financial legacy for my family. Then the next thing we need to do is looking at having an emergency fund.
Yes.
So why is the emergency fund the second part of? Because when you build a house, you have a foundation.
That's right.
Now, so the foundation is your life insurance. The next part is the emergency fund. Because as I'm building, if anything else happens, if I have an emergency, I don't want to take away from anything else.
That's right.
So you need to then start looking at building an emergency fund. And these are great little tools to help you with preparing for a spouse.
Yes.
When you have a spouse. Like you said, you taught your son the 3 little buckets.
Yes.
Okay. So then the next thing is after that having protection management. So having prepaid legal, having access to an attorney.
Yes.
Having auto and home insurance. Did you ever notice that if you owe a mortgage, you have to have homeowners insurance?
You do. Why? Listen, the home doesn't belong to you yet. So that's their way to protect what their interest. That's right.
And the next step would be having a budget. Budgets are not like people think about budgets as a bad thing. It's a good thing. It doesn't tell you what you can't spend. It tells you what you can do. Then I think the next step would be managing your debt.
Okay.
Just making sure that you eliminate debt. Getting it out of the way systematically. Then start planning for your retirement.
Yes.
Because one day you're going to get there, prayerfully.
Yes.
Then, and a lot of people think, especially mothers may think this should be the other way around, college education. But you want education to come, you need to plan for your retirement first.
Yes.
Because the last thing your children want you to have to do is take care of you later on in life.
This is true.
Okay? And then your goals and dreams.
Okay.
So when we're looking at putting everything together, that's why I say we build a financial house.
Yes.
And as believers, we know that we walk by faith and not by sight.
Amen.
And so, but the Bible also tells us that faith without works is dead.
That's right.
And we have to put this work in order to be able to be prosperous
Yes.
and be the leaders and kings and queens that God has created us to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you brought up that scripture, but I'm looking at also Philippians 4:19 that says, "But my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus." So in addition to that faith, we've got to know that God is going to supply. But when he does supply, will we do the right thing? Can God trust us with finances? God sometimes, I think, limits us according to our abilities to manage what he gives us. So if you want more, we have to actually do more. Much is given, much is required, right? Well, if she got it, she could cover us. No, I'm not your covering. I'm not your covering. You're my covering. Now, yes, in a marriage, if you got to do a little bit more sometimes or whatever, but it's the come together, it's that initial stuff, because what ends up happening is you attach yourself to someone who is a liability, and they're a liability to you, and then now a liability to your children as well. Yes. So it's like, we got to get this stuff together. We got to have these hard-pressed conversations, because, when you independent and you come in with stuff, it's like, okay, I already know what I have. Fred, come on the table. What's over here? Right. Let's look at this in a columnized way, because now this stuff merges. Well, if I got a home, I don't want you coming in now to my, let's go get the equity out the home. Right. What are we doing? So this is why we have the conversations beforehand.
It's unfortunate, the younger generations, and even when we're thrust back into the dating scene, that the way the world has evolved is like what you're saying. Well, you could cover me.
Yeah.
And even when in generations past, the man didn't cover the woman. We had defined roles. And
it was really defined back in the day.
Right. And it may have changed a little, but not a lot, because it always was two working together.
That's right.
For a common goal.
That's right.
Maybe way back then, the man worked and the woman stayed at home, but being a stay-at-home mom is a lot of work.
It's work.
That's hard work.
It is work.
And people are learning that today with homeschooling.
It's a lot of work.
You gotta try to, homeschool the kids. You gotta
cook, clean, get them up, get them dressed, turn that computer on. Then if you're working from home, you gotta do your own job. So it's a lot. And finances is just such a huge thing, and you gotta have them conversations before you get in the game, because once you get into the marriage, now we fussing and arguing about stuff we should have talked about a long time ago. Because had we had those conversations, I might not be with you, Joker. I'm just being straight up. You know what I mean? That's just the truth of the matter of it. You have to, once you make your personal assessment, you figure out who you are. You're dating to collect data. So you need to know. I need to know what you. Well, but yeah.
Should be. But we really been dating because of superficial stuff.
Of the emotion.
Yeah.
All
He
that.
fine. Fine.
He look good, girl.
Good.
What your pocket look like, brother? Because you can be riding in a E-Class Mercedes, but you behind in your payments. You one payment away from them picking it up.
Or something happens like COVID-19. It doesn't necessarily have to be your fault.
Yeah.
Or again, what do we talk about for the future? What do we do when life happens?
Yeah.
Because life is going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And again, we're not taught to have those conversations because we're taught, like I say, to feed the monster. The more superficial we are, the more we'll feed into the system.
Yeah.
And the system is the only thing the system cares about is money. Yeah. And feeding itself. Whatever people believe politically, they're correct, because you're entitled to your opinion, and that's correct. But I think this administration has been a great example of that. That it's about self.
Yeah.
And how much can the rich get richer? And so we gotta start having these conversations because, like you said, you might, if you had these conversations with the guy, you might not be with him. But guess what? He might be with someone that he's more comfortable with because they don't have the goals, dreams, and ambitions that you do.
Hello.
He's not trying to go where you're going.
Hello. You didn't say the word.
And so we're unevenly yoked.
We unevenly yoked.
Because neither of you are wrong.
Yeah.
You're both right.
Yeah.
You're both right. So then we do this because we realize we were both right. I don't want to be. Listen, I worry about retirement later, or I'm gonna work forever.
That's not my life. I don't want to work forever.
See? Or there's a difference between working because I want to and working because I have to.
Yeah, that's like I was entertaining somebody, and I say entertaining, I won't call it dating. I was entertaining someone, and I said, this is very early on in the first week. I said, you work 7 days a week. Someone that works 7 days a week needs to work.
Right.
Why are you working so hard? Help me to understand what your goal is. And guess what? That one question opened up the entire can. Oh, well, I've got $3,000 over here. I need to pay this off, and I got to do. Oh, okay. That one question. That one. Are you recording this? He's recording this, so this is good. But that one question, because and that's why when you're dating, you have to really analyze. Don't just listen to respond. Listen to understand and comprehend what's being said to you. So I'm like, why are you working so much? He's in debt.
Yep.
So that put.
But it also said something else about him. Mm-hmm. That, okay, I got myself in a bad situation.
And I'm trying to get out of it.
And I'm willing to do whatever I have to do.
That's right.
To get out of it. So maybe you're entertaining him, hey, listen.
Get yourself together. Exactly. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it helps me to understand where he is. Because I needed to understand, well, why are you doing this, right? So now that I know you're in that debt, you're working towards something, I'm gonna pull back a little bit. Let me let you get yourself together, and then if I'm here, we can entertain this again.
Right.
But this is what it's all about when you're sick. You don't have to ask questions in a way in which that's disrespectful. You're just simply asking questions in a way in which you're able to obtain data. And so when you get your data, you can't expect the guy that's in debt that's working 7 days a week. He don't have time to take you out.
No.
And he really doesn't have money to be spending on you because his goal is to really get himself out of this debt.
Here's the funny thing. Most people listen to talk, to respond. So what you just said, you need to listen to listen.
That's right.
So if he, so he's working 7 days. If he now starts working 6 days a week to take you out, you have to have enough foresight to say, well, wait a minute, he's just getting deeper and deeper in the hole he's in. Because it took 7 days of working for him to get out of this. So he to get to where he needs to be to, he needs to do that.
Yes.
Again, we don't have conversations, and this forum is why it's great. I told you I started the website a couple times. I started to tune in.
Yeah.
Because we have to have forums like this where we get people to start to think and open their minds to say, okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
I was thinking like that, but I never knew how to ask that question. Mm-hmm. Well, his actions, you paid attention to his actions.
Absolutely.
And his actions, and that allowed you to ask the question, which was like opening up Pandora's box.
It does. And when the box is open, now you just have to figure out what are you going to do with it. Right? So, this has been great. Wayne, we have to have you come back because finances is so, we probably can talk for hours about finances, but it's so important for us to like Wayne said, make our own self-assessments when you are dating. Collect the right type of data, not just the stuff that we've been taught, but the things that will help you to set yourself up for your future, for a successful future.
I wanted to ask a question. How, like you said, start with your finances. If you have a person who already is working on their finances, would you come in and just show them the way to just keep going up? Like, now I'm working on my finances, but I'm doing it on my own. I'm not going through any program or anything.
So, see, I'm even doing this for myself when I'm in the audience. Or I'm in the questions are huge because you brought up something that I wanted to bring out, but I didn't bring it out. You have to always remember when you're working with somebody in the financial field that you are in control. Because only you know what you want your end results to be. I don't know. Even if you go to, whenever you got something to do with your money, you in control.
Right.
You can go to buy a car out, you in control. That car salesman wants to sell that car way more than you want to buy that car. Okay, so to your question, yes, I'm going to work with you. My job is to give you some tools, advice. That's what we give advice. We give advice. So that's my job, to give you advice, to show you some ways that could possibly help you out in a better direction. But yes, it's not to tell you what to do.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Thank you for that question. Because that was a point I really wanted to bring out. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, we good.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Always. What I did was I called all my credit card companies and I asked them when was my statement end date. And then I set notifications in my phone so I'm actually paying the bill before it's even due. So my statement, even though you get your statement end date and then you start a new billing cycle, that doesn't mean that you wait until your bill is due to actually pay it. You know what I'm saying? Because even with my mortgage, sometimes I pay a little bit more, right? Because now I'm not paying so much on principal, on the interest, I'm paying more on the principal. So it's different little ways that you can kind of fluctuate how you pay your bills and stuff like that to make it, to boost your credit. And it's amazing because I'm telling you, I literally saw it when I paid my bill down, not paying just the minimum due. Because the minimum due, you're going to be in debt forever. If you got a $2,000 credit card and you're only paying, say, $39 a month, that interest is going to keep building up every month. But why not pay it off? Why hold on to that debt if you can actually pay it off? So, when you do things like that and you're paying more than what's minimally required, then you're looked upon in the credit world as, now you know how to really manage your finances and you're able to actually do more than what they're asking you to do. Yeah. So paying a little bit more helps. So if I got $39 that's due, I try to pay $109. So, yeah. Any other questions, anybody else? Y'all come on, give me something. Tonight, what you got?
I gave you mine, and that's it.
Oh, what you did? College and credit cards.
Yeah. Or you can do it on 20.
My advice on college students and credit cards: don't get stuck. Don't get caught up in the hype. You know what amazes me, even when I was in college, you walk out on the yard, now you see these credit card companies. They had a little table set up, getting us all in debt. All these college students in debt, and I even did that. I didn't know about credit cards. Like I mean, I knew you have your little bills, but I didn't know it was important to pay on time and all this stuff. So you get these credit card, you get all these new phone offers, and by 20, 21 years old, your credit is jacked up. So when you do finish school, now you can't buy a house. Sometimes, in some cases, you can't even get a certain job if your credit is not good. So don't believe the hype. Don't get caught up into getting a credit card unless you really know how to manage your money. And when you're in college and you're not working, where's that money coming from? How are you going to pay this debt off? You know? So I would say just, know how to manage your credit card before you actually sign up for getting one. Anything else?
And I've learned also that your credit score is much better than cash. Credit score is better than walking into a car lot saying, okay, I got $1,000 to put down. Oh, I got a 750 credit score versus $1,000.
Yeah, because if you don't have good credit to the creditor, you're a risk. You're a risk to them. They might have to write off your balance because you didn't pay on time, which is why they look at your credit history and what have this person done. It's almost like a report card. How well did she do with the credit that she already has? It's just like, I remember one time somebody asked me, I'm having problems renting a car. Can you rent the car under your name? And what's wrong with your record? Why would I now want to rent a car for you if you can't rent? If the creditors don't want to let you rent the car, why should I let you rent it under my name? We don't do that over here. You know what I mean? So, and it's just like with co-signing. The same thing. When you co-sign for a car, you better know. You better know that if that person doesn't do what they're supposed to do, you are obligated to now make sure that gets paid. So when you're making these decisions, co-signing and all this other stuff, when you're making these decisions, I remember my mother told us one time, my sister and I, she said, if you're loaning out someone money, loan it out with the theory that you may not get it back. That when you loan it out, just if you can't say that I'm okay with giving you this money, then don't loan it to them, because you just might not get that back. So even now, if I loan someone money, I may not necessarily expect it back because I'm giving it to you knowing. That's what sometimes somebody say, well, can I borrow $100? Go ahead, you don't have to pay me back. I'm not even looking for it back. If you give it back to me, great. But my mom always taught us that lesson, that if you can't give it away, don't loan it out.
How important is it to budget money?
It's very important to budget. I remember when I started working for a company, and they only paid you once a month. And when when they said, "Oh yeah, you get paid every first of the month," I'm like, "What am I gonna do for the rest?" Because for years I've been getting paid bi-weekly. So I would set, I'll pay X number of bills this first 2 weeks, then I'll pay X number of bills the second 2 weeks. But then when I started getting paid once a month, I was in a better position to budget my money. All my bills are on time. I didn't have to wait to the 15th to pay a bill. Budgeting is so important because you never know when you may need extra money. You never know when you might have to tap into your savings. You may not know you don't know what tomorrow brings. So it's always important to budget your money because you know best what you can handle, right? And so when you live within your means, now I'm budgeting to keep myself managed in this particular box right here. If something comes up, because I budgeted my money, I have the ability to take care of this emergency over here. If I don't budget, I can't do that. I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. Well, I can't pay my light bill this month. I gotta pay my phone bill because they'll turn it off. That's not a good way to live. So when you're able to budget yourself, even if that means that if you're someone who's accustomed to going out, to dinner, say 4 or 5 times a month, if you know that that's really hitting your pockets, scale back on that. Learn how to cook your favorite dishes. budget yourself so that you're not overextending the money that you have. What's coming in versus what's going out. If everything that I get in is always going out, there's nothing left here. How do I live like that? You know, that's a horrible place to live. I remember when I was in college, I was working 3 jobs, but I could never even enjoy my house because I was always out working. That's no fun. So when you start budgeting and you're realizing that I have certain monies allocated for this expense, I have certain monies allocated for this expense, everything is taken care of, and I can now do a little bit extra if that's what I desire. So budgeting is important in the sense that you want to take care of what you need to and not be so pigeonholed and tied into just paying my bills. Life is not, listen, you got to enjoy life, right? And so I never wanted to, when I realized before I went back and got my bachelor's degree, I said to myself, I don't want to live a life where I'm working 3 jobs. I don't want to do that. I don't want to spread myself so thin to where I can't even enjoy the fruits of my labor. I'm working hard, but I don't see anything because everything that's coming in is going out for a bill. So live within your means, and when you live within your means, now I can save, now I can travel, now I can do these little things. But if I'm spending every dime that's coming in every month, that's miserable. That is absolutely miserable. So it's very important to budget, and the key to budgeting is living within your means. Anybody else?
Being prioritizing your stuff too.
Yeah, you have to prioritize. Listen, first of the month comes off mortgage. My mortgage is first. By 31st, I'm paying my mortgage already. That's first off top is my mortgage. Then it's my car payment and all that other stuff, you know. And then you also include your tithes, and then you got your light bill and all these other things. But it is such a joy to not sit back and say, well, I can't pay this. That was one of the reasons. My prime reason for going back to school was like, this is not the life that I want. I don't want to not be able to pay my rent. I don't want to not be able to pay my bills or drive around with no car insurance, hoping that I don't get hit. You know, so we have to, like, you know, look at where we are and then figure out what it is that you need to do. Everybody know what they're comfortable with doing, what you're comfortable with, how you're comfortable in living. And if you know if you like nice things, you can have nice things. But like Wayne was saying, faith without work is dead. So you can believe, and you can believe God and trust God for all this stuff, but you have to work it. And so in that working, you set your goals and you set your vision on what you want to do. And once you know what you got to do, then you can establish the tasks that you need to get to that point.